This is a bandsaw blade butt welder. It's made in Germany. The manufacturer is Ideal. Many years ago I broke a bandsaw blade on a Sunday afternoon, needed to finish the job, and so I managed to convince myself that I needed a bandsaw blade welder. And I knew a guy who had bought this one from a scrapyard, so I went along and bought it from him. I paid far too much money for it, but that's irrelevant. It came with this step-down transformer. The welder is a 210 volt welder, which is really unusual. As far as I know, the only country that uses 210 volts is Japan. But there we are. Now the step-down transformer has an earth fault, and if you touched it you would get a shock. So I always used to just plug it straight into the 240, and I did use it a few times. Then one day it stopped working, then it sat on the shelf for years and years and years, and just recently I've been trying to find some blades for a butcher's bandsaw. I got some that were too big and decided that I need to get this thing working again. Inside it's a fairly simple thing, great big transformer with multiple tappings. On the bottom there's a common contactor, direct online starter type as used for most motors, and that is the original one. Now I reckon it will have had a 210 volt coil inside it, and me using it on 240 volts has blown the coil. So now it's got a 240 volt coil in, which actually engages at 220 volts as well when I run it through that transformer. So what happens is you press the welding lever, the weld starts, and when the jaws come together the circuit is broken by these contactors being lifted apart. One for the 8mm setting, one for the 5mm setting. The 5mm one never worked. I used to just turn the thing off by a bit of guesswork, but I have mended it. The steel spring was broken there where my finger is, so what I have done is drill a hole further down and screw it on with a little 4BA nut and bolt, and I've put a soldered link across to give some electrical continuity. Now, to check the setting on these things, and they are adjustable from behind with a long screwdriver from the other side and a 7mm spanner. I put an 8mm or a 5mm drill bit between the jaws to hold them the correct distance apart. Put my multimeter between there and there, set on continuity with the buzzer, and adjusted the screws till it stopped buzzing. Simple. So it's easy to make one of these things work again. Nothing else in there apart from a couple of mechanical switches, several actually. The manual for these things is available online, and parts are still available. As long as I have had it, this Bakelite lever has been broken off, and I have turned it with some vice grips. I was going to buy a new lever, but they're 40 quid plus VAT. No thank you. So I drilled and tapped it 6mm, stuck this 6mm screw in with some super glue, and because I had some, I put a little knob on the end. It has a built-on shear for the blades here, which is very handy, and at the other side here it has a guide So the blade goes in like that. The guide is adjustable so that you end up with a square cut, which is very important if you are cutting blades at both ends, because the discrepancy doubles if you don't have a square. If you're working off a coil, it doesn't matter as much because the two ends will match. Underneath these clamp pieces there is a copper die at both sides, which is removable with two screws from underneath. It's well worth unscrewing it and cleaning both sides. The cleaner the contact is, the better electrical continuity you get, and therefore the better weld. These little clamping bars on the clamp pieces are spring loaded. These ones just have a common split washer underneath, which I don't imagine is original. It works, but I don't think it's quite right. So I have procured some Belleville washers to replace them with. Spring discs they're also called. They will do a better job. Now all the instructions for the settings are on the front of the thing for the different sizes of bandsaw blade. What we do is we set it up, we weld the blade, and then we move this thing to the annealing position and reclamp the blade, turn that knob until the blade is annealed. If you don't do that, the blade will snap at the weld. When we had a look inside it, I could see there are no voltage sensitive components other than the coil in the contactor. So this is now a 240 volt welder. It may draw slightly more current at 240 rather than 210, but I don't think the difference is significant enough to worry me. It is well worth polishing and degreasing the blades before you put them in here to ensure electrical conductivity. So we set this thing according to the instructions. Setting the upsetting way to the prescribed amount. We clamp the blades in the middle of the jaws. I've plugged it straight into the 240 now. So we move this down to the welding position. And I was wrong. It did make a significant difference. So I've turned the welding current down now, and we'll try it again. And again. Well, it did work with the welding current turned down to the notch below the suggested notch. So now I'll just show you how we anneal the thing. You turn that to the annealing position, put the thing back in, centralise it, and use the annealing switch to do the job. See, the thing gets hot. Then we let it cool naturally, and the weld is completed. Just right. However, I think, having learned what I've just learned, I'm going to insulate that transformer and continue to use it through the transformer. Hope you found this interesting. Thank you for watching.